India is a land of contrasts, where ancient traditions and modern life intertwine in fascinating ways. While the country is renowned for its intellectual achievements, strong IT sector, and rich cultural heritage, there are also darker aspects that often remain hidden from view. This video delves into one such hidden corner, India's infamous prostitution villages, to reveal the harsh realities faced by some of the country's most marginalized communities. Subscribing is free to you and really helps us put this research together, so please hit subscribe. Thank you. Let's begin our journey by zooming in on India, a land where vastness meets diversity in every corner. With its sprawling 3,287,000 square kilometers and a population of about 1.4 billion as of August 2024, India is a nation of incredible scale and complexity. This massive population and wide-ranging geography contribute to the country's incredibly rich and diverse society, offering endless opportunities for exploration and discovery. When it comes to culture, India is a true mosaic. Imagine a country where over 200 official languages and around 1,600 dialects are spoken. That's India. It's home to a variety of major religious and ethnic groups, including Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs. Each of these groups brings something unique to the table, contributing to the nation's identity through their festivals, traditions, and of course, their delicious cuisine. India's history is equally fascinating. We're talking about one of the world's oldest civilizations, with the Indus Valley Civilization dating back to 3300 BCE. Powerful empires like the Maurya and Gupta dynasties have left their mark on the country's cultural landscape. Then there was British colonial rule, which played a significant role in shaping modern India. The country's fight for independence, led by iconic figures like Mahatma Gandhi, left a lasting impact that continues to influence India today. Economically, India is a powerhouse. It's one of the fastest-growing economies in the world, with major strides in technology, industry, and services. The IT sector, in particular, has been a driving force behind India's economic growth, with cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad emerging as global tech hubs. However, despite this rapid growth, there are still significant economic disparities, especially between urban and rural areas. Even in August 2024, many rural communities are struggling with poverty and limited access to essential services, highlighting the ongoing challenges that India faces. This incredible diversity, rich history, and economic contrast are what make India so fascinating. But they also help us understand some of the more challenging aspects of the country, like the infamous prostitution villages that still exist in some rural areas. In this documentary, we're going to delve into these hidden corners, revealing the murky secrets that continue to shape the lives of many people in India's less visible communities. Before we dive in, kindly subscribe. This gesture will cost you nothing but tremendously help us. We hope to support these communities in the future if we can generate funds. Thank you so much. Now, let's peel back the layers to uncover a harsh reality often overshadowed by India's economic growth, prostitution in the country's poorest villages. Despite the strides India has made, poverty remains a powerful force that drives many women into this grim trade. Did you know that as of August 2024, around 3 million women in India are involved in prostitution, many of them in rural areas where opportunities are scarce? This stark contrast between booming cities and struggling villages paints a complex picture of India's development. How do we reconcile this growth with the lingering shadows of poverty? When it comes to the legal status of prostitution in India, it's a bit of a gray area. While prostitution itself is legal, the industry is poorly regulated, leaving a lot of room for exploitation. Traffickers and pimps often control the trade, with very little legal protection for the women involved. This lack of clear legal frameworks and social support systems keeps many women trapped in a cycle of exploitation. Let's take a closer look at a specific case in Ajmer district, Rajasthan, a place where prostitution isn't just a side issue, it's a daily reality. Here, economic survival drives the sex trade, revealing the deep-rooted socio-economic factors that push women into this line of work. It's a sobering example of how, even in a country as diverse and vibrant as India, poverty can still dictate the harshest of life choices. For many women in these villages, prostitution is not just a job, it's their lifeline. They rely on it to support their families, displaying incredible resilience in the face of such harsh realities. Yet they continue to hope for a better future, one where they can break free from these circumstances. What would it take to turn that hope into reality? Digging deeper, we need to talk about the root causes driving women into the sex trade in India's most impoverished communities. From crushing poverty to the lack of education, these factors create a cycle that's incredibly difficult to break. Imagine living in a place where your daily struggle for survival leaves you with no other choice but to enter the sex trade. For many women, the absence of educational opportunities and resources forces them into this grim reality. As of August 2024, it's estimated that nearly 70% of women in rural areas lack access to quality education, which severely limits their ability to escape this cycle. How can we break this cycle? It starts with improving education and providing better economic options. But is that enough? Gap 3s. Prostitution in India doesn't just affect the women involved. Its impact ripples through society, creating a web of social stigma, economic implications, and varied community responses. The social stigma surrounding prostitution is immense, often leading to ostracization and discrimination. Women in the sex trade are frequently shunned by their communities, which further isolates them and limits their opportunities for better lives. This stigma affects their children as well, who often face bullying and social exclusion, perpetuating a cycle of poverty and marginalization. Economically, prostitution can be both a lifeline and a trap. On one hand, it provides a source of income for women with few other options. On the other, it often leaves them vulnerable to exploitation and abuse, with little to no legal protections or avenues for financial stability. According to a 2023 report by the National Human Rights Commission, approximately 1.2 million women in India are engaged in prostitution, contributing significantly to the informal economy, but without the benefits of social security or healthcare. Community responses to prostitution vary widely across India. In some areas, grassroots organizations and NGOs are making significant strides in providing support and rehabilitation for women in the sex trade. These organizations offer education, vocational training, and healthcare services, helping women to build new lives. For instance, the Durbar Mahila Samanwaya Committee in Kolkata has been a pioneer in advocating for the rights of sex workers, providing a model for community-based support. Real-life stories shed light on these complex dynamics. Take the story of Meera, a woman from a small village in Uttar Pradesh, forced into prostitution at a young age to support her family. Meera's life seemed destined for hardship. However, with the help of a local NGO, she was able to receive education and vocational training. Today, Meera runs her own tailoring business and is an advocate for women's rights in her community. These stories of resilience and transformation offer a glimmer of hope. They remind us that while the challenges are daunting, change is possible. By addressing the social stigma, providing economic opportunities, and fostering community support, we can begin to unravel the complex web of issues surrounding prostitution in India. Gap 3s. As we move towards the conclusion of our documentary, it's important to remember that the fight against prostitution and its societal impact is far from over. But with continued effort and support, a future free from exploitation is within reach. Gap 3s. In the fight against prostitution, the Indian government and NGOs play crucial roles. Their efforts aim to reduce prostitution and support those affected. The government has policies to combat prostitution and support women. The Ujjwala scheme focuses on prevention, rescue, and rehabilitation. It provides shelter, counseling, and vocational training. Women receive support to rebuild their lives. The Immoral Traffic Prevention Act prosecutes traffickers and protects victims. NGOs complement government efforts. Apni Aap Women worldwide prevents trafficking and supports survivors. They offer education, vocational training, and legal aid. Their community-based approach empowers women. The Rescue Foundation rescues trafficked women and children, They provide medical care, psychological support, and education. Many women successfully reintegrate into society. Combined efforts from the government and NGOs make a difference. By addressing root causes and supporting survivors, they pave the way for a future free from exploitation. Gap 3s. The fight against prostitution is ongoing, but with continued effort, a future free from exploitation is within reach. Gap 7s. The future of addressing prostitution in India is a mix of cautious optimism and significant challenges. Potential changes in legislation, evolving societal attitudes, and technology play crucial roles. Policymakers suggest more comprehensive, victim-centric legislation could be on the horizon. Enhancing laws to protect sex workers and crack down on traffickers is essential. Amendments to the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, ITPA, are being considered. Societal attitudes are slowly evolving. Viewing sex workers as victims rather than criminals is gaining recognition. This shift fosters a supportive environment for seeking help. Educational campaigns and media are changing public perceptions. Technology is a powerful tool against exploitation. Digital platforms provide sex workers with vital resources. Technology aids law enforcement in tracking trafficking networks. A multifaceted approach is essential. Dr. Anuradha Kapoor emphasizes robust legislation, societal support, and technological innovation. With sustained efforts, significant progress can be made within the next decade. Ritu Sharma believes community involvement is pivotal in driving change. Empowering local communities to stand against trafficking is crucial. The future outlook for prostitution in India holds promise. With legislative reforms, evolving attitudes, and technology, there is hope for a future free from exploitation. Chapter 6 is Gap 7s. The fight against prostitution is far from over. With continued effort, a future free from exploitation is within reach. As we conclude this documentary, it's clear that India is a land of stark contrasts and complex realities. From the glittering tech hubs of Bangalore to the hidden struggles of rural communities, India's story is one of both progress and persistent challenges. The issue of prostitution in rural villages serves as a poignant reminder of the work that still needs to be done to ensure that India's growth benefits all its citizens. Yet, amidst these challenges, we see the resilience and spirit of the Indian people. From grassroots organizations working tirelessly to combat exploitation, to individuals striving for a better future against all odds, there are countless stories of hope and determination. As India continues to evolve and grow, it's these stories that will shape its future. A future that, despite its challenges, holds immense promise and potential. Please like, subscribe, and watch the next video on your lower left screen.